Hello there, everyone. How are you all? Mohammed Najmi here, and today I have a bit of thoughts to share with you around what has happened with Tommy Robinson recently. Now, I don't usually do these videos, sort of like reaction videos of the events that have happened. Even though I call it reflections and reactions, this segment, it's sort of like an afterthought reaction, anyways. But I thought it was important to sort of address what has happened because it is somewhat significant. I'm going to play a bit of video about Tommy Robinson himself explaining the result of what had happened outside the court today. Just an overview of it. In November, when he was attending one of the marches, a protest against anti-Semitism. Apparently, one of the organizers of the fight against anti-Semitism um, asked the police to remove Tommy Robinson from the event because he was causing distress, which is obviously complete BS. And he was there as a journalist, working as a journalist. So, a Section 35 is a section that is done to for dispersal. Um, it would not it should not have affected him because he was there in the capacity as a journalist, right? But obviously we saw a lot of was it incompetence, or is it willful ignorance, or is it malevolent actions, or is it a combination of all bad faith actors using each other, so to speak? So the result is obviously of not guilty that has come about, but it has taken all these months, these 6 months of taking his freedom sort of away from him. And it's not really about him. If you think it's about him, it's not really that much about him. you know it's actually about it's about all of us, because if these things can be done to him, they can be done to us as well, right? And that is what disturbs me about it the most as well. But it, look at the flimsical excuses that they have come up with. I'm sure that you have seen what has happened. Hopefully you have. If not, you should go and check what has happened in the court. If there are transcripts available, I would say that avail yourself of those transcripts as well, because this is important. And it doesn't really matter whether you like the person or not, whether you agree with him or not, the totality of his character, if you agree with him or not. I certainly like him, and there's no secret about that, because he is steadfast in his support um, for the likes of me, like people who criticize Islam and stuff, and people who love this country. So I support him as well in his endeavors. Um, but it doesn't matter whether you like him or not. It's what the state can do to you and get away with as well, and under the scrutiny of law, that they can come up with these ridiculous excuses. So I was reading a bit of the transcript, as it was being minuted in a way on Twitter by Voice of Wales on Twitter, like I said. And there was some very weird things that happened where Tommy's lawyers, solicitors, are asking questions, and it's very apparent that the PCs don't know what they're talking about, and the inspectors don't know what they're talking about, or they're claiming ignorance, or like saying that they haven't recorded something because one of the guys said, like, because he's dyslexic or whatever. It's 20, they were like, what, 15, 20 or more officers at that time, all wearing body cams. None of their footages can be found. None of the footages can be found where they pepper sprayed him. Like, people have seen those videos. I'll play one over here if I can find it.
Stop resisting! Stop resisting! resisting! Boys, lads! Calm it down.
But they can't find it. Either it has been overwritten, or it's been, oh, we forgot to record it. Like, come on. These excuses are not acceptable. If that is the level of the officers, if that is the truth, and that is the level of them, then they should all be fired from their jobs. Basically, that's about it. I will link in the tweet of Voice of Wales, where the thread of tweets, where he has explained what has been going on according to him. And this is the big point as well. The citizen journalists that were present over there made sure that everyone knows what is actually going on, and what is actually being said, so that it's not suppressed. The voices are not suppressed, and the narratives are not changed, which is why I think so the judge had to side with the truth. Now, one of the point the PC says that Tommy's presence was causing harassment, alarm, and distress. He was there having breakfast at that time. There was no harassment or distress or alarm being caused.
Say they're going to arrest you. They say they're going to arrest me, yeah. When you see these abuse of powers by the police, who Suella Braverman lost her job, they couldn't stop them marching on Armistice Day. They can't stop them calling for jihad. Hizb ut-Tahrir are prescribed in most nations. Yeah? Every Arab nation, they're a prescribed terrorist organisation. They're standing on the streets yesterday in this capital city calling for Muslim armies against Jews. Yeah? Yet they're going to arrest me. I'm just here to do a report, to do my job. That's it. How are you, darling?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? You all right? Good. I'm here to do my job as a journalist. Who do you work for? Who do you work for? Who do you work for? Sky News. Your reporting on this conflict has been an absolute disgrace. Kay Burley's a disgrace. Exactly. You have taken the side of Hamas. You have pushed propaganda from Hamas. The figures you use are from Hamas. Don't tell me I'm a disgrace. Don't ask me. Excuse me, officer. What's going on? What's going on? What's the matter? What are you doing?
Shame on you! Shame on you!
Okay. I'm just here to do my job, lads.
He's done nothing wrong! Why are you so frightened to have it?
Do we have freedom of the press or not? You do know he's a supporter of Israel, don't you? Do you know he supports Israel? Do you know he's a supporter of Israel? Who am I causing alarm of distress to? Do you know he's a Zionist? Who am I causing alarm of distress to? This man is a Zionist and a supporter of Israel, and he's been arrested. Who am I causing alarm of distress to?
Listen to me.
No, you tell me.
26th of November, the date. The time by my watch now is...
I'm sorry, officer, but I have a job and I believe in freedom of the press. You may not, Sadiq Khan may not, Mark Rowley may not, but I believe in freedom of the press. I'm here to do my job, and the police do not dictate who journalists are. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
So I'm going to ask you one more time.
Why don't you treat jihadists like this? Why don't you treat jihadists like this? Why don't you treat Hamas like this? You can dress up as a Hamas terrorist in our capital.
Now declined to give me
I haven't declined to give you my name. You know my name. I'm not going to give you my address on camera, am I? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. My name's Stephen Lennon.
Okay, so let me write that down, Stephen.
You're not writing my address down, don't you?
People were actually cheering actually cheering for him over there when they were there, and they were actually screaming against the police, chanting against the police, telling them to shame on them, shame on you. But according to that PC, one of the PCs, when he was being escorted away, he said that the people were actually clapping and cheering, and he thought that the shame on you thing, the chants of shame on you, were directed at Tommy. Like, can you believe that? It's I don't know what world they're living in, or they think that you're stupid, right? So they think that we are stupid, and they can say these things and they can get away. And you know what the problem is? They will get away with it.
I'm not answering it. That's my colleague.
We'll just arrest you.
That's my colleague.
I don't care.
I'm with work. I'm at work. I'm at work. I'm at work.
You're being
I
asked
want
to
my
leave.
cameraman. Come on.
Do not touch the officer.
No, listen, I've got to get this guy. I'm doing the security.
Keep it moving, guys. Keep the corner moving.
I'm
Keep
doing
it
the
moving.
security, guys. I'm doing this guy's security. I can get him out of here. I'm waiting. This way. Okay.
I hope that Tommy Robinson sues them over it, and every police officer that was involved has, has some sort of punishment given to them, and their supervising officers and the person who did this dispersal order, which was like what was his name, Phipps or something, Inspector Phipps or something like that.
Wow, children!
But I'll say this though, we have a huge problem with the people inside rather than the enemies outside, so to speak, the enemies within. You see all of these people who are, today on St. George's Day, they come out and say, "Oh, didn't you know the St. George was Turkish?" We all know he wasn't, right? We all know there was no Turkey at that time. We all know that he was actually Greek. His mother was Greek, his dad was Roman, and he was a Christian Roman soldier. And when the emperor started going against the Christians, he did not give up his faith, and for that he was prosecuted, he was tortured, and he was murdered, right? That is the spirit which the English call upon as their saint. But these people take glee in inaccurate representation of any historical fact or any deeper understanding of things, is because they hate the country. They hate the country so much that they will do anything that they can to create chaos, right? To create chaos, to create anger, to draw hatred out of other people because it justifies what's in them. They are resentful people. There are many of different ethnicities, the native Brits and those who have come from other places. These are resentful people, and they spread their poison. Their resentment at times might be justifiable in a way that they had legitimate resentments because of them being left behind or whatnot in the system. But how they choose to display it shows the kind of person that they have become. So the need for cultural movement, it is also connected to that. It's connecting the people back to their culture so that we can combat this problem of the enemies within. You know, convert those who can be converted and shun those away who can't be converted anymore, so that we can move ahead away from this madness. And you know what? Ironically, these are the same people who come about and, you know, they come about with, when you talk about Tommy Robinson, these are the same people that come about with, oh, his name is actually Stephen. Like, yeah, we know that. Like, it's just funny because we know what they're doing, they know what they're doing. You are willfully trying to distract from the actual point that is being discussed by focusing on the minutia, right? Like, why are you doing that? Why are you focusing on that? Is because you cannot argue the actual point, the deeper meaning of the point or what it represents. So you have to distract, right? You can't see yourself for what you're doing at times. This is why these enemies within, a lot of them need a lot of self-reflection. Maybe a space, like I mentioned, a cultural movement, in a way, a space where perhaps they are allowed to self-reflect and make a conscious choice for once in their life, rather than just following whatever their tribe is saying.
When I went to work to report as a journalist, I was violently attacked by the Metropolitan Police Force. Everyone watched it. Yeah? The Crown Prosecution Service are supposed to be independent. They're supposed to assess the evidence. The evidence which everyone watched was that the police come in. I tried to tell them I'm a journalist, I'm at work, which they know anyway. They removed me forcefully. They pepper sprayed me at point blank range. Yeah? They lied throughout every one of their statements. How many officers were there that day? 20 officers? None of them have got their body cam footage. We heard their evidence. Mine come off in the incident. It was lost. Mine was recorded over. I had someone else's camera that day. They proved themselves as liars time and time again. The fact that the point I want people to understand is I've just said I've won, yeah? Have we won? Do we have freedom? For the last 6 months, I've been banned from entering my capital city. Whilst jihadists have took over our capital city week in, week out, with the grace of the police allowing them to, I've had my restrictions, my right to a family life. I even went to court to ask if I could take my children to the Christmas lights turn on, and I was refused that opportunity. For the last 6 months, I've had to go to a Muslim police officer and ask permission to come into my own capital city, of which one of the meetings was to interview a member of parliament. That Muslim police officer refused that request. That is a police state. That is not freedom. The judge today stood on the side of truth. I've been in these politicised buildings too many times. This is the 8th time, I think the 8th time I've been in court on this offence, at a cost of £60,000. This is about lawfare. The process is the punishment. You may come here and get a victory, but they've had the victory because they've controlled any opposition to Hamas on the streets of our country by banning me for 6 months, okay? That's what they've done. They've also, the toll, the emotional toll, the stress, the pressure, the thought of going to prison time and time again is part, as I said, the process is the punishment. The police officers stood and gave evidence. He actually told the truth. What's turned out today is there was no lawful order. My arrest was unlawful. The pepper spraying in my face was unlawful. Their bail conditions given by a judge. We went before a judge here twice. We appealed the conditions twice to say there is no evidence against me. How am I banned from my capital city for 6 months? It has to be, those bail conditions have to be proportionate. It's not proportionate. I wasn't allowed inside the M25 for 6 months. I'm still frustrated with it. They've limited my ability for my activism, for my work, for my journalism. They have invaded the privacy. Anyone I want to meet for my journalism, I had to give the police, the British police, their phone numbers. They then rang them. I had to tell them the times I'm meeting them, where I'm meeting them. For the last 6 months, that should not be allowed. Freedom of the press has been under attack. Freedom of speech has been under attack. My freedom of assembly, all these things have been taken from me, from the British state. Today they've been given back to me. I'm now allowed into London.
So I really think that he should sue the Met Police, but also it shows you that there's actually hope over here. If you want to take something positive from it, that if we band together, like I've been talking about, doing a cultural movement or of some sort within Britain, a British cultural movement, if we band together with our resources and with our strength in numbers and with the pressure that we can put on, with a lot of citizen journalists that we can enable to go out and hold other people accountable, we can start winning these things. We can start putting enough pressure where they cannot hide away from the truth for too long, and they're made to feel that they will be held accountable. It's going to take a while, or it's going to take a long time for this to happen, probably a generation for this to happen. But I think so it is about time that we need to think about this seriously, and we need to band together, and have a movement where we can pressurize anyone who's trying to create this police state against us. um yeah, and those are just my thoughts today, just to say that it's not all over. I know sometimes we can feel a bit doom and gloom. I know I have been feeling like that lately. I've been feeling like there's no fight left at times. Um, but I think so. This shows that there is hope, and we don't need anyone else apart from each other, so to speak. If we get together, then we can achieve what we want to achieve. We can create a better future for everyone, and it's important to understand that. Strength in numbers, supporting each other, putting pressure on everyone. Once we start doing that properly, once we start channeling that support and that camaraderie, that spirit, once we start channeling it, focusing it on certain goals and certain targets and stuff, yes, it might take a few years, maybe a generation, like I said before as well, but there is hope, right? It can be achieved. So that would be my takeaway from all of this whole nonsense for a while now. Anyways, thank you for listening, and take care of yourself.